few weeks away from the fight. Overall, how's your body feeling? How's the training camp so far?
My body feel good. My body look good too. So I'm in great spirits. You know, I think everybody keeps asking me about my nerves. Sadly, I don't have any nerves before any fight. I'm always super excited to fight. I don't know why, but I just enjoy it. So training camp is really the hardest part leading up to the fight. And people said the fight's going to be the hardest part. And I just don't believe that. I don't believe that the fight will be harder than me putting in 3 different training sessions a day, me running, 4 miles with sprints, and then coming to the gym and doing a second session. I don't believe that one night of a 10-round fight with Savannah Marshall or any other woman will be harder than my training.
Yeah. It's pretty clear you guys don't like each other. Would you say this is like the most heated rival you've had throughout your career? Is this the person that you dislike the most?
I don't know if I dislike her more or was it Christina Hammer? I don't know. I don't really gauge it. I know both of them are just idiots. I mean, like, Savannah Marshall, she said some of the dumbest things. Like, her last thing she said that I've read about, she said if she walked around calling herself the GOAT, her friends would slap her, as they should. You have 1 belt. Please don't call yourself the GOAT. Please don't. Only people who I think have any right to call themselves the GOAT is Katie Taylor and Amanda Nunes. Everybody else, zip it. Savannah Marshall, zip it. Miss, you've been pro 5 years and got 1 belt. Of course your friends should slap you. I should slap you. When you talking about some, you want to be the GOAT, or you the GOAT because you beat me 10 years ago. Slap, slap, slap.
Well, you get a chance to do that on September 10th. So.
I'm not going to slap her September 10th. I'm going to punch the shit out of her.
Yeah.
I'm not going to slap her at all. I'm going to punch her. And you know what? Y'all are going to see it's levels. I don't ask all y'all in here who think she's going to beat me because it don't really matter what y'all think or how y'all feel to me. But I know that all y'all that's doubting me, just make sure that y'all apologize after the fight and say we were wrong. That's it. You ain't got to say, oh, you're the GOAT. Just say we were wrong. You're the best. And we respect you, and and that you respect my hard work and my accomplishments, because she was the fluke. Her beating me 2012 before the Olympics was the fluke of her career. That was her biggest achievement. After that, downhill. So it wasn't a fluke that I won the 2012 Olympics, because I won it again. I won a world championship 3 times after that. So she was the fluke, and she's still a fluke because she knocked out a whole bunch of bums.
In the lead up to this fight, a lot of people have made a lot of her power. Is that something that you think of during training camp, or do you feel like this whole talk is overblown?
This whole talk is definitely overblown. A lot of people don't realize how many haters I have. Like, I'm one of the most sought after women boxers, and people pay a lot of attention to me. But I have a lot of haters because of how great I am. It's kind of like I'm Floyd Mayweather, but I'm in a woman's body. So they want me to lose, and they're gonna say anything to make her feel like she's better. I mean, look, I accept her knockouts because they're there. She's 12-0 with 10 knockouts. But go and look at those girls' records, and then you tell me whether she should be knocking them out or not. And you're gonna say, yeah, you should knock out somebody that's 4-25. You should knock out somebody that's 11-75. Plus, you're fighting them on 3 days' notice, a week's notice. You're supposed to knock girls out like that. But if you go on the flip side and look at my resume, it hasn't been one girl who's took a fight with me under 3 months. She wants 3 to 4 months to prepare. That's why I don't get to fight as often as I like, because all these girls are like, we're not going to just take 6 weeks and a big payday to fight you. Like, we want to come and we want to actually put in a whole lot of training to try and beat you. And then those girls get beat up the first round, and then all their heart leave them, and I have another unanimous decision.
You're obviously very proud of your accomplishments. The only blemish, and this was in the amateurs, was a loss to her. Is it important for you to get that one back and prove that, yeah, it was a fluke and that I am the GOAT and, the best at this sport?
This don't prove that. This is just adding to my legacy. Like, it's important to win every fight. So you ask me, is it important to win this fight? It's important to win every fight. She doesn't hold a special place in my heart to where she's I want to beat her more than I ever want to beat anybody else in my life. No, that's not it. I think people think I think too highly of her. I think she's a good fighter. I think that she's a big girl for the weight class, but she's not as skilled as me. She's not as smart as me, and she don't know how to adjust. But that's what we're going to see on September 10th.
Yeah. What does it mean to you to be an inspiration to young black athletes and girls that are interested in boxing? What does it mean to you to be a trailblazer in the sport of women's boxing?
You know, I think I have surpassed only being a role model for just black young girls now. I think I'm definitely a role model for black young girls, but I'm a role model for young girls, young little boys. I've actually got some inboxes from some fathers who said, like, I asked my son who his favorite fighter was, and he said Claressa Shields. He said, I almost had a heart attack. And I started laughing because I was like, well, he's on to something, because I don't really look at gender, you know what I'm saying, when they like come to boxing. It's a sport. But I just find it very great that I'm a role model, and I just want to tell them, I hope that I'm setting the example to everybody who looks up to me, black, white, you know, brown, Mexican, whatever, that just be who you are. You know, don't let people change you, because the media will come in and people will come in and say certain things to you and make you want to be different or make you want to fit in better. And I dealt with that the first 2 years in my career where people telling me how I should wear my hair, what kind of clothes I should wear, how I should talk, how nice I should be, how women don't talk trash in women's boxing, and you're not ever going to get anywhere doing that, and you got to be a lady outside the ring but be a beast inside the ring. All this stupid stuff, that all these rules that they made up. No woman didn't make these rules up. They're made up by men to keep us in our place. And that's why I had let them know, I don't care to be nice. I don't care to wear heels. Why would I wear heels and I got to fight the next day? As if heels don't hurt. Like, it don't even make sense. Why would I go to a fight and be there 5 hours and wear heels and a dress that I can damn near can't breathe in? For what? And then I gotta train the next day and my ankles are swollen up and my body is sore from wearing this tight dress the day before. Like, I just started just breaking whatever rules that they made. I'm like, I'm gonna do what I wanna do. I'm gonna say what I wanna say. In every room that I walk in, people feel my presence. And that's just something that every woman and everybody in the world should wanna feel like.
So I know you had another fight this year already in boxing, but when you spent last year in mixed martial arts, coming back this year, did it revamp you with any more love in boxing? Did did it bring anything new to your game, because it's just kind of opening your eyes to a new sport at all? Like, what was there any domino effect from just spending some time doing some pro MMA fights?
Doing the pro MMA fights definitely was challenging for me. I think that's why I like to be challenged. I learned a lot about myself, that I can train as hard as I want to train, and I can really learn anything and be really great at it. It didn't make me love boxing more. I just love boxing more than I love anything. MMA is a second love. It's not my first. But I think all of the training from MMA, I think that my body is built different now from how it was, but thank God I can still box the same. But doing all the groundwork and everything, I think my body has a different kind of endurance than most people. It already had a different kind of endurance, but now my endurance is in the clinch and on the ground and being able to breathe in some of the most awkward positions, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't have that before, and I think my vision has widened, because at first in boxing you can only see like above the waist and to the head, right? But since I've done MMA, now, not on purpose, but when you're close to me, I can still see your whole body, because in MMA I was looking out for kicks, you're looking out for knees, so now my vision is just wider. So when people are doing stuff with their feet inside the ring, I can see it.
Did you notice a new fan base at all kind of come into from that? Because everybody, it's always MMA guys going to boxing. It's never anybody, a boxer, the best boxer going to another sport.
I got so many fans from doing MMA. I got endorsements, I got sponsorships, I got movie deals. I got a lot from just 2 fights in MMA. And it's sad, because I'm way better in boxing than MMA, but boxing needs to give the same opportunity to the women, because if we're being honest, in boxing I should be getting endorsements, sponsorships, the movie deals, the magazine covers. Boxing should be giving those opportunities to women, but they're not. But in MMA, they're gonna cut the check, and they're gonna get you some endorsements and sponsorships. They're gonna go out there and work for you, and I'm super, thankful for Peter Murray and the whole PFL organization.
You recently congratulated Amanda Nunes after her win,
Yeah.
and said that you were still interested in doing that fight. What would you be interested in doing that fight? Would you want her to come to boxing, or would you want to go to MMA and never make that happen? Should there ever be a possibility of that happening?
Incorrect. Amanda Nunes said a week before her fight she wanted to fight me in the ring. So it wasn't just me poking the bear. The bear poked me. So Amanda Nunes said she wanted to fight against me, and that would be one of the biggest fights in women's boxing as far as in crossovers, and I agree with her. I would love for us to box inside the ring, and like I've said before, I will get inside the cage with Amanda Nunes, but it'll be in 2 years.
And one more before I'll get back to Rich Evan. You mentioned about the haters that you deal with. Is it a different level at all when you're going against, you have a English fighter, they're very passionate about their fighters. Do you have an influx of that, of people from just one country just hitting you up nonstop of she said this, she said that? Because I know you don't let stuff slide on social media if you think somebody's disrespectful.
Well, I spend a lot of time training, so in my downtime, I do be on social media, so I do get offended when people are just coming at me on social media during my downtime. And that's why I be checking a whole lot of people. But a lot of people are now deleting their tweets and everything, because when they come messing with me, I always bring light and attention to it, like, okay, hold on, you said this, let me go ahead and change it up for you. So I try not to get into beefs online, but I feel like people come messing with me. Like they don't like something that I said, something that I did, and then here they come with all these accusations. Oh, she's racist. Oh, she's mean. Oh, she's a bully. Blah blah blah. And it's just like, shut up. Go and follow somebody else. You do not have to follow me. You do not have to see my tweets. You can block me. You don't. But it's like the fact that they find their way onto my page and they follow me, and then they get mad when I tweet. It makes no sense.
You know what she is? There's one label that's appropriate for her. She's competitive.
Sure.
And that's why if someone comes at her, she goes back. Has nothing to do with all those other words that people use. That's all BS. That's people hiding behind the truth.
Yeah.
She's competitive. You hit her, you try to hit her, she's coming back. That's all. That's the way she should be.
Claressa, so it sounds like training MMA has actually aided your boxing from what you were saying before?
I'm a lot stronger than what I was. And definitely inside the clinch. I used to hate when girls used to hold me in boxing. Because it'd be like, what? How the hell do you get loose from here? But now, I know so many moves on the inside. You probably see me doing some MMA stuff in there, moving the girl's arm around, hit her in the stomach, because it's just so much. It's like you're doing all this stuff to not get loose, but to open up for shots. And you can ask Tyson Fury. He do the same thing.
Yeah.
He did a lot of clinch work. And he's done some MMA training, even before people knew about it. So if you even watch him inside the clinch, you will see him doing a whole bunch of stuff. And I didn't know that those things were possible until I started doing MMA.
Yeah. Cris Cyborg, a very famous MMA fighter, former UFC, Bellator, you know her. She's making her boxing debut in September, later the 25th. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Like
nice. I don't agree with the opponent being, I think, 17 and 14, 14 and 17. But she did make a good point. She said that she wanted to fight against Kayla Harrison in boxing. And I thought it was the funniest tweet ever, because I'm like, that would be a very interesting match. Two MMA fighters come into the boxing ring to box against each other. I mean, I think it would be one of those fights to really, like they're both trying not to slam each other because they both know how. Right? But I think I've been able to get inside the ring with Cris, and I think she's good enough to where she doesn't have to fight somebody 17 and 14. I think she can take on some of the top girls. I think Cris Cyborg can beat Jessica McCaskill. I think she can go to 154 and do some things. Cris Cyborg can box. We only sparred one time. I think it was like 4 rounds, but she learned a lot in that. And she adjusts very, very fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, she asked me some of the best questions that any sparring partner after ever asked me, because she wanted to understand it. When I explained it to her, it was like her eyes opened up and she was like, wow. And I seen that she's added some of that to her MMA. I just hated the fight with her and Amanda Nunes, because we had talked about being patient, and setting up off the jab. And then she go out there with all this rage. And I don't know what Amanda Nunes said to trigger her, but she was triggered. and she went out there, and we all know what happened, but we had talked about that, and that was something that her eyes was open about. But from that fight, you can see that now she go in there very, very patient. She work off the punches and the jab, and she's already great on the ground. So she's a complete MMA fighter.
So you think she has a future in boxing, and not just as a novelty thing, but like fighting world-class boxers?
Yeah, I told you I think she can be Jessica McCaskill.
Sure. Claressa, was reported this week we're getting closer to Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. You know, you're also a big fan of the boxing. You're always such a great ambassador for the sport. What do you think about that sport, that fight finally happening between those guys?
I think the women are putting a lot of pressure on the guys. That's what I think is going on. I think we've had Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, and then you're gonna get me versus Savannah Marshall. You're getting Elisa Baumgartner versus Michaela Mayer. And I think when you're getting those fights, and it's the top fights in women's boxing, it's like the men are like, we gotta step up. So I'm happy that the fight is being done. It's a fight that we want to see for years, and I just can't wait to be there ringside and see it.
I know you don't want to make it about everything about gender, but is it a big deal to you, an all-female card headline, something like that? Like how big a deal is that to you?
This isn't the first all-female card that I've been a part of. We did our pay-per-view card up in Flint, Michigan, where I became undisputed champ 2 times, and that was an all-female card. This one is on a bigger stage and a bigger platform, but we have some of the best fights, so I'm super excited. And all the girls who are in the sport who don't consider me the GOAT, well, look who's top of the bill. That's all that matters. Look who's top of the bill. Look who's the A side. You know, look, it's not Marshall Shields, it's hashtag Shields Marshall. You know, so all the girls who said, you know, oh, Claressa, she's too mean for the sport, she isn't good for the sport. Eating your words now, ain't you?
As far as MMA, are you gonna go back to mixed martial arts, or are you gonna stick to boxing?
You know the answers to that already. You know I fight in November.
Okay.
MMA.
PFL finals?
It's the PFL finals, yes. I'll be fighting on that card. I believe I'm the co-main event, which I don't want to be. I keep telling them that. But they just expect so much out of me. So I win my fight September 10th. I take about a week off, and then I actually come back down here because I'm thinking about doing some training at ATT or trying to see if Henry Cejudo can come down here and do some training with me here. So we're on. We always got other fights and other bags to collect. So it's just one bag.
Sorry. Can we expect the appearance in the 2024 Olympics again, or for?
No, I think it'd be disadvantage for me to disadvantage for those girls in the amateurs for me to get in there with them. I'll be a 13-time world champion because I'm only taking 1 belt from Savannah Marshall. No, I don't want to go back amateur and beat the amateur girls up. No, I don't.
What's something that you can take away from the first fight that you can bring to this upcoming fight with Marshall?
I can just bring to the fact that I got better, that I improved, and that she didn't. That's what I take from it, and that's how you can look at our careers. I think people look at the fight 2012. Well, one, nobody has ever seen the fight 2012 except those who were there, and for some reason it was taken off the internet. When do you hide a fight from the internet? What does that mean? An amateur fight at that. What does that mean? That means that maybe the decision went the wrong way, or maybe the fight was closer than what people say. She told everybody she walked through me, she beat me up. It was the easiest fight of her career. Negative. I got the fight. I watch it, and it was her hardest fight, even in her professional career, that she's ever had in her life. So that's why it's not there, because then this fight wouldn't be as big. I think the mysteriousness of it, like what really happened. Yeah, she beat her, but why can't we see it? I think that that's actually building the fight up more also. But I do have it, and no, I'm not going to post it till after I beat her so they can all see the truth.
And you and Marshall, Mayer and Baumgartner, we had Taylor Serrano. It's been somewhat of a golden age in women's boxing.
It has.
Do you think that, as a major proponent of change, do you think that women's boxing deserves more of the spotlight than it already is right now? I think that some of the fights are better than men's boxing. They're getting more awareness on social media? Do you think that there's more of a way for it to change?
Yeah, this is just the beginning of women's boxing being at the golden age. It's just the beginning. Like right now, we're finally making that $1 million, right? We're finally getting those big venues and being the main event, being the top of the bill. Like this is just the beginning, though. I believe that after this, we're gonna have way more than this. It's gonna be other bigger fights. Like you may consider this the biggest fight right now, but I believe after, up in the years to come, it's gonna be a different fight that you consider the biggest women's boxing match ever, for whatever people reasons are, but it's always something bigger and better, and I feel like this is just the beginning. In women's boxing, people ask me, am I satisfied, with the pay and the promotion and being the top of the bill? It's cool, but Floyd made $50 million for one fight, so why would I be okay with settling for one?